We then proceeded at that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Hello, welcome to the lunch break for Friday, January 11th. Glad to have you here. We have a full studio off the top of the show. Very happy to have everybody here. I'm Matt, your host. I've got Anna alongside me. Hello, Anna.
Hello,
everybody. It's been a while since I've seen you in here.
I know,
You've been in the building, but you just haven't been in here.
Or in the control room.
Right.
Or running the board in the depths of Studio C. Yes, it's good to be back.
That's right. The last show that we had, you were off camera the entire time.
I was screaming to be heard.
That's okay. Glad to have you here. Christina, glad to have you back.
Yay.
Very happy to have you back in studio. Welcome. We got Zach in the booth today running the show. Zach, how's it going?
Hi.
Any big weekend plans?
Well, Derek's here, I was going to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got Derek in there
That's
training
pretty
as well.
neat. Yeah, he's helping out. And at some point, believe it or not, I am actually going to eat lunch during the show. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this guy to run everything, and I'm sure you'll be in the second
Just
best
stay
of hands.
tuned for him eating clean and training dirty in there.
Wow, you're just going to knock that out early.
You're just going to get that one out there.
Good. Well done.
Also in studio is our guest for the top of the show here, Ashley Berges. Welcome.
Glad to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Glad to have you here. And when you look at your website, ashleyberges.com, there's about 1 million different titles for what it is you do. So when you think about yourself, what would you say is your primary function in society right now? Because there's like 100 things I could describe you as.
President. No, not president. I think I would have to say, psychologist, therapist. I think that's kind of the basis of the stuff you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I kind of find myself as a philosopher, too, because I like to engage in thought that kind of takes away from old thought processes, overcoming these things that we've held on to for a long time that are no longer offering value in our life. And so they're kind of like negative thought things that we hold on to that contaminate our life. And it's a new year, so we might as well start getting rid of that. So
speaking of that, I've actually saw a very interesting story this morning. This comes to us from IDC Research, and it was sponsored by Facebook, oddly enough. But it was
Oh, wait, Facebook? The ones that make you down?
Facebook, our home of the lunch break, yes. No, it says that if you 80% of people, 80% of smartphone users check their phones within the first 15 minutes of waking up. Does that track for everybody in this room? I know it does for me.
Yes.
I wake up and I'm looking at my phone. I'm still groggy in bed and I'm looking at my phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Christina,
Correct.
Yes. Ashley, I heard a yes from you.
If I'm late to work, it's probably because I laid in bed looking at my Facebook too long.
How about in there? Like, is that the first thing you do in the morning, Zach? Is pull up your phone?
I'm trying not to, because I know people lately, I feel like it's New Year's resolution. This has been a hot topic. Like, hey, if we shouldn't go to bed and look at our phones last thing, it shouldn't be the first thing we wake up to. But frankly, I look at it as a genuine tool, because when I'm tired, man, and it's cold like it is now, I don't want to get out of bed, and I can turn over, grab my phone, turn it on. It's like, oh God, like it genuinely helps wake me up. So for what it's worth, I find it a valuable device to help get me up in the morning.
Yeah, that blue light
That's right.
shining through your
Blast
retina.
your irises.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with regards to something that we may want to toss out in 2019, it could be this. Now, this article quotes a well-being expert. I guess you could probably call yourself that too, a well-being expert, Ashley. Her name is Chelsea Pottinger, and she said that the act of checking our phones that early in the morning before you're even awake and starting your day can jolt us with stress, fear, anger. I mean, depending on what you get overnight, but like I could wake up to emails from work and I'm like, oh my God. Already we're in on this irritability, and it can impact the rest of your day if you're starting out your day with a negative someone posting something about you on Twitter or just a comment on Facebook that drives you crazy. That's a bad way to start your day. I mean, Ashley, would you, if someone is having a problem with this surely is something that people ought to think twice about.
You know, I think a lot of times we allow other people to influence our day, right? To influence our feeling, our emotional well-being. We have a tendency of allowing the most negative of situations to really contaminate our situation. Isn't it funny how somebody can tell you how great you are, and you can have all these people tell you how great you are, but you have that one person that finds fault in you, and you think about it constant. It's like it's an addiction. You want to prove to this person that they're wrong, okay? The fact is, who cares? But we do care. And so a lot of us are people pleasers. That's the way we were raised, you know, and that's codependency in the whole basis of it. We don't have to go there right now. But I think that when you do look at your phone and someone sends you like maybe kind of a jerky text message or a comment, or somebody makes kind of a rude comment on Facebook, it does. Because I think at the heart, everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be cared for. And quite honestly, when somebody goes out and deviates from that, it honestly, no matter how angry and no matter how peed off you get, it really is because you have your feelings hurt. I mean, honestly, I think we really just take all the BS out of it, and that's what happens. And so I think when you're looking at your phone, you need to be careful. One of the things that gets me though is like animal cruelty and stuff like that. When I see it for the first thing in the morning, can ruin my whole day. Yeah. Or like the oceans being polluted, and you're seeing these animals dying in the ocean, and you're like, oh my God, it's 6 a.m. I mean, I might as well just like go back to bed, you know, and tell everybody I'm not going to make it today. And so you got to really be careful about what you look at the very beginning of the day, because that sets the tone for the rest of it.
I was hearing a podcast on my way to work the other day, and someone was kind of talking about how they manage their social media, because the conversation was exactly this. New year, new you. What new habits you're going to kind of change or get. And so she was saying a way to improve your day without removing that Facebook connection, or like our let's just say, instead of being completely radical of just not watching your phone at all, she says that she kind of shifted her timeline. So she started following a lot of like feel-good, positive news, puppies, cats, you know, kind of like funny memes and motivational speakers. She said, I started following a lot of inspirational people. So that my timeline becomes something that inspires me. So she started shifting her own newsfeed, which is great, you know, on Facebook. And I'm like, that's very clever. I guess is another way to look at it, right? Like trying to shift the type of content you get fed every day.
Is social media something that you see negatively affects a lot of people, especially in your, you know, counseling or whatever?
I mean, like, think about it. I mean, think about how many people actually spend like hours and hours on it. I mean, like, some people out there spend upwards of 6 hours a day, okay, if they don't have like a full-on, like they're going to school or they don't have a full-time job. And some people don't start getting online until like 10 o'clock at night. Some people actually are quite addicted, and they look at, like, let's say Instagram, for example. And I know we've all done it because I can raise my hand on this. Looking at Instagram and seeing how everybody's lives look and how amazing someone else's life looks to yours. And I remember one time opening up Instagram. It was like 6:30 in the morning. Not a good time to open up Instagram. And I saw something and I went, oh my God. And it's like this amazing life with this amazing house, you know, and this gargantuan mansion and all this stuff. And I'm seeing all this and I'm like, wow, what do I have? You know how you get all down in the dumps. And I've had clients that literally do, I don't know why I'm depressed. And I'm like, because you spend hours looking at what other people have and you're always the have-nots. And so this is a big epidemic, because I know a lot of us say it really brings us all together. Facebook is, you can see your friend, like you were talking about earlier before we started the show. You said, hey, my friend just had this baby and it's so cute. Look at these cute memes, and you really connect. But at the same time, think about how it also creates that great divide, right, between what people have and showing the best sides of them. You don't see the 9 outtakes where like they hit like drooling or drop the wine on their shirt, whatever. You don't see that. All you see is this perfection. And I think that's where it's hypercritical to be very vigilant with what you're watching, and also be vigilant on how you're interpreting what you're watching.
Plus, there's accounts. I mean, the most successful accounts shape their content in a way where we're talking about this, I don't know, maybe a month ago or something, where someone rented, like there's actually houses that you can rent for Instagrammers, for influencers, for them to just go there and take photos. Right. It's not even their house. They're renting these places. They're going there for like a week and they create content for months. I mean, that's when you realize like what we see is just, you know, people talk about TV. Facebook, Instagram, social media is like TV. It is it has become a shaped reality for sure. And I guess I would love to know like kind of like day-to-day tips besides those like little things that people can do that is like not going like completely out of your way, because I suppose like radical changes can get us actually depressed, right? Because we need that 5 minutes every now and again of Instagram, so, or Facebook. What do you think about right, it's a way to approach friends that are away, for instance, for people that, like, you know, a grandma that lives far away from her grandchildren and she can see them grow, as also like as parents and people that have duty of care of other people, like what can we do collectively, not just as an individual, but is there like in your opinion something that we can do, kind of like buddy up with people and try to, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of strategies that besides the individual level, which sometimes can be hard, like not doing exercise is easier with a buddy.
That's a great idea. I mean, like you're talking about like a social media accountability partner.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, I need you to hold me accountable here because, you know, I can't do it on my own. One of the first things, though, I think that's really like the paramount structure of issue here is that we got to figure out how we're looking at ourselves, because people can post whatever they want to post. And that shouldn't actually define who we are, but we need to figure out, why am I interpreting myself as having less? Why am I interpreting my life as less? You know, I have some women that'll come in and be like, God, I just saw and she's engaged now and I saw the ring and oh my God, in my life, and I'm 25. I'm like, you're 25. I mean, oh, you poor thing, you know? But it's like, it overwhelms them. And I think the thing is let's sit back and first of all, we have to question the social norms. You're 25. You shouldn't need to be married. It's not a big deal. Okay, so questioning the validity of your value based on that. You think that your value has changed because you don't have a man or a woman? Does that make sense? And really starting to question, what are the negative thoughts that I have in my head, the negative broken record, you might say, that's what I call it, of the things that keep coming into my mind that make me lesser than the people that I'm looking at. If we can conquer that first, and that's what I work with a lot of my clients to do, then no matter what people post, it doesn't matter, because all of a sudden it switches the gears to they have more than me, they're better than me, to, oh, that's cool, congratulations to them. You know what, I really need to focus on my life a little more because I got more things I need to work on. I think I'm just going to turn the phone off for a little while. But that's awesome that they have that house. That's awesome that they got married. I'm happy for them. Yeah. You know, because it switches the script, but you got to be happy with you to find the happiness within that.
It's a hard thing to discipline yourself towards, especially now when you've. I think people are maybe in a little way obsessed with negativity or obsessed with what they do or don't have. And I've always heard, and I've tried to put it in practice. It doesn't always work, but whenever a negative thought enters your mind about a certain situation, or you see something and you think negatively about it, to try to replace that immediately with something positive, right? And it's one of those, again, it's one of those discipline things, but I think after a certain amount of time, you start to just do that naturally, right? You start to try to shift your attitude rather than looking at a situation and immediately putting on a negative lens to say something, okay, I see this, what can I take out of it that's positive, and what can I take about that's life affirming or whatever?
And I see what you're saying, and I agree with you. But there's a tinge to think about. There's a lot of folks that are out there, and I really respect everybody in the field. But a lot of people try to take the negative thoughts and just pile a bunch of positive thoughts and affirmations on top, and they go, well, it'll just go away. It's kind of like the idea that, like, I'm a chain smoker, but I'm a vegan. Okay.
They cancel each other out.
You know, that's not going to do anything. I'm going to, you know, I could probably get some sort of disease, and on top of that, you know, but I'm eating okay. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. So that's the same thing, too, a lot of times that people are doing, is they have these negative thoughts, but then they're just adding these other kind of positive thoughts, but they're never getting rid of it. It's like taking poo and then spraying perfume on it and going, if I leave the poo and I spray the perfume, it's going to be fine. Yeah. It's going to stink and reek, and it's going to smell like flowers and poo. It's not a good thing. So it's like, what if we just, like, sit there and let go and go, what are the main main issues I have in my head. And it all goes back to self-esteem. But I remember mine when I was younger and I had to work on this. It was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. Whatever it is, I was going through my head. And I wrote those down. And then I realized that every time one of those thoughts would come through my head, I was like, whoa, wait a second. Is that true? Is it honest? And eventually I was able to let them go because I realized that those were preconceived thoughts that were either, a lot of us were bullied in school, and maybe a bully bullied you, maybe your mom or dad was not very nice, maybe it was an unhealthy family dynamic, and they said a bunch of stuff that made you feel bad about yourself. And then you created these thoughts in your head, and then your whole life as an adult, you become thinking, I'm still not good enough, I'm not happy, I'm not pretty, nobody gonna love me, I'm never gonna find a man, all that stuff. And so if we can start listening to that mindset and say, okay, is that true and that's honest, and ask those real questions, then you can begin to delete those because they no longer serve you. And then after that, it's a blank slate. And then we can change the module up and create something like, I am valuable. I am beautiful inside, whatever that is that you want to say. But they're always I am statements, but they take the place of them. They don't just go on top of them, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Zach, Christina, I mean, does social media, like, do you find yourself reacting negatively whenever you spend a lot of time on social media? Do you have to unplug?
I have to unplug all the time. Being a comedian, it's a very competitive world, and like, we are friends on Facebook. We are constantly shoving our accomplishments in everybody's faces on Facebook, and it's really hard to watch and see somebody who maybe has been in the comedy scene like 2 months, and they get a show that you've been wanting to get on, and then you let yourself, am I not that good? Is this person better than me? Blah, 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 blah. And you get yourself all worked up and anxiety, and you're mad. And I mean, it would destroy weeks for me when I first started comedy. And then I was like, nope, turn the phone off. Like, you just have to, I know that's like a little specific of a situation,
sure,
but
that's really true. I mean, that's hardcore, and I agree with you, especially when you're working really hard. And I've been with you on this, okay? Where you're working really hard and you have really paid your dues for years upon end, and all of a sudden you see somebody come out of the gate like 20 days out, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, you know? And you're like, how does this happen?
like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, like, what's up with the
whole life's
universe?
work. Yeah.
Like, why is this happening? But and it's painful because you really you start questioning your validity, and you question all the work you've done, and that's something I agree with you on that. It's so hard, and that's probably one of the toughest things I think to overcome. And so it's like realizing your value, but I think it goes back to our worth and saying, even though this is what I'm seeing, I'm gonna sit back and really work on me, because sometimes people do get breaks that, you know, some of us didn't get at the time,
Right.
and life is a little harder and more challenging for us, and it is a little disturbing to sometimes, because sometimes some people seem to get all the breaks. But I think we have to kind of let that go and say, well, it's still hard though. I'm giving you that one. That one's really tough, and it takes a lot of work. You do. You have to let it go until you're ready to process that. If you even want to process it. But some of it, if you remember too, if you think about it, some of it is like really genuine accomplishments, and other of it is inflated. And I think we fall for the inflated stuff a lot too, because I fall for it. I go, oh my God, look at this person, and then later on I find out.
It's inflated,
right?
so especially in the comedy scene.
Zach, any thoughts before we go to break?
Yeah, man, I agree pretty much exclusively. Yes, I struggle with a fair handful of social media sites, especially this wonderful one we're streaming on right now, the Facebook. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for your time. I don't post a lot. It's tough for me to relate because I feel like I would be embellishing my life by dressing up to be something I'm really not. And that's very evident in like my profile pic. It's ridiculous and stupid, and I try not to get too far into it. That being said, if I am going to be on social media, I find myself most comfortable on Twitter because it's the worst of all of them. It is the most evil.
You know what you're getting into.
It is the most bad. Yeah, and if I'm going to be knee-deep in social media, why not just pick the most horrible to jump in?
I've thought a lot about trying to clean up my Twitter feed, because you're right. It is like my Twitter feed is either professional wrestling or it's terrible news stuff.
Yeah.
Always, and just people yelling at each other, and people on different sides of the aisle just screaming back and forth at each other. I'm like, I always get on this and I feel miserable afterwards. I know I shouldn't do it, but I also kind of want to just keep up with what's going on. I don't know. It's the yin and yang, I guess, of the modern life.
I can spread that misery to other people on Twitter, and I don't feel bad because my family and friends aren't really on it. So I'm like, well, they're just strangers on the internet. It's fine. So,
right.
Yeah.
I do try to, like, the minute I start feeling bad, I'll at least log off.
You'll open a photo of your dog.
Right, exactly. I look through all my dog photos, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. Ashley, I mean, you've got a million things going on. You have your Live Your True Life Perspective, which is a radio show, which you said is in 40 markets now.
We're in 40 markets now, yeah.
Wow.
How do I guess I should just focus everybody to ashleyberges.com, and they'll find info on any of this stuff that we're about to talk about.
And you can find me any way you spell it, kind of, but it is Berges.
GES. Also, you were saying you had an Amazon Prime show. What's up with that?
So, TV show, Amazon Prime. It's called The Celebrity Perspective, and it's really cool. And season 1's already on Prime, and we're actually in pre-production for season 2.
Nice.
So
what are is this the kind of stuff that you're doing, like looking at someone's life and saying, here's little things that I think you might want to think about?
all your problems right here. Yeah, no, I try to stay away from that. No, actually, it's about I interview celebrities. It's really hard hitting. It's very authentic, and it's very cool. And we talk about some really deep stuff, and however deep they want to get. And usually they want to get as deep as possible. And it's the stuff you're not going to hear on any other interview, on any other talk show. And I switch seats on camera after I interview them, and they actually get the liberty of taking my seat and asking me anything they want to ask me. So I've had to come out live on the fact that I have a DWI. I got a DWI when I was, 17, so I had to come out live and say that with Greg Louganis when he asked me.
Oh, wow.
And then he looked at me and he goes, you think that was a big deal for you? He goes, I got one too, and I was in the press, you know. He goes, I was an Olympian. He goes, you know how horrible I went through? And it was very interesting. So the conversation is very deep and very cool. And then this year on season 2, I'm actually joined up with a lady that used to be the producer for Barbara Walters, and she's a 4-time Emmy nominee. And she and I are partnering up for season 2, and so we're actually bringing in a third person on a roundtable discussion that's going to join that show. But we're in talks with those people now. So, but it's really cool. So it's same interview situation, and we switch seats, and then we're going to walk into a bigger discussion.
I won't make you pick favorites, but who were you most surprised by? I guess I would say that you talked to. What is something that came out that you were like, oh wow, I didn't know about that. I didn't think about that.
I thought Greg Louganis was a very deep conversation. I thought Garcelle Bouvet really brought it as well. I mean, you've seen Garcelle and everything from Coming to America to Jamie Foxx show to all that stuff. And I think she was really cool and deep, and she was very frank and honest about her divorce and custody and the pain and suffering she went through as a mom with the empty house. And what a lot of women go through, that depression, and some women turn to alcohol, drugs, and stuff like that in those situations because they've always been a mom, and now the kids are going out to see the dad that they're no longer married to. It was very deep. Will Traval did a really good interview. He got very deep about a friend that had passed. Keisha Sharp, very smart, from Lethal Weapon. Everybody just brought it. You know, they really brought their truth, and I think when you have people bringing their authentic self there, it really connects with the viewer because they go, you know, I'm going through that problem. My friend committed suicide. How do I feel about that? I lost a parent to a disease. I lost a parent to cancer. I lost a parent to this. I'm going through that. This is how I feel. And I'm seeing this person going through it, and they've survived it. And I'm actually listening to actual solution. And I'm in this, and I can feel it. And so a lot of people that called me and they've talked to me said, they were crying, laughing, smiling, everything all at one time. And I thought it was very powerful. And that's what we want in that show. We want people to really connect and realize there's no barriers, and being a celebrity doesn't matter. I mean, it's cool, but we're no different.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have the same issues. We all have the same challenges. Let's get real here, and let's stop devaluing and objectifying celebrities as well, because I think they're objectified way too much, and I think they're just human beings. So let's just all have a human conversation, and that's really what the show's about.
Right. It almost feels like if you're a celebrity, you're expected to be these like pure person, white, no problems ever happen in your life. And you know, if you do something like you hop on, anyone hops on their high horse, and like, oh, how dare they do this? And you're like, where they're human, they're people, right?
And they deserve an outlet too. But I think we also realize that, you know, nobody had it easy. There's not one person on this planet. Everybody sitting at this table right now is dealing with something, has dealt with something. Everybody listening right now on Facebook knows that they're dealing with something, they're going through it. And I think when we get real with that and we have those conversations and we don't try to popcorn and, make everything so sweet-see and so great, I think we start getting to the crux of who we are as a human being and who we are as a collective consciousness. And then better yet, how we can better ourselves, you know, uniting together instead of dividing ourselves apart, which I think has been critical recently and even more. And I think if we can keep going that same direction, we can really increase the conversation and feel like we're a part of something bigger, because we really are.
Ashley, Burgess, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you being here on the show. Again, you can find her at ashleyburgess.com. That's Berges. Life coach, counselor, modern day philosopher. You find her literally everywhere. Thank you so much for coming on the lunch break. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about doorbell licking. How about that? Sounds like a great transitional topic. We'll be back here on the lunch break. I'm going to play a little music here. There it is. And stick around here on RNCN. All right, we're back on the lunch break. Thank you for sticking around through all the photo taking and everything. It's always a process getting in and out.
Always good seeing you.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about the story that has blown up all over social media, all over everywhere. It is the Ring doorbell licker. I'm just gonna pull it. We do have a video in there. I think it should be loaded up if we can get around to that. But this comes to us from. I'm trying to find what city this came to us from. I'm gonna mute that site. Gosh, I can't find it here. It just says California. I'm not seeing the.
I'll be honest.
It is.
Salinas, California.
Salinas.
Yeah.
Not that, to be honest, as what? Oh, we have the
There we
video
go.
ready. We have the video.
Let's roll that video. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. So yeah, this was caught on a Ring doorbell, and
Oh my god.
I don't even.
My God.
I don't,
That
I
is so
don't-
creepy.
You know, I'd seen the still photos. I'd seen the still photos of this.
Oh my God. He's making love to that doorbell.
Now I should point out that this went on for 3 hours, I believe.
3 whole
Wait.
hours.
Yeah.
Well, they do say that the tongue is the strongest muscle in your body, but imagine that workout.
The man's got some stamina.
Some dirty work.
dirty training. So I had seen the still photos of this thing, but I hadn't watched the video until this morning. And man, that is creepier than it. Like you see the headline that says "Man licks doorbell for 3 hours." And you're like, oh God, what could that be? It is nowhere near as creepy as when you actually see it. I don't have a Ring doorbell. Anna, you have a Ring doorbell.
I do.
I can only imagine. Like clearly, this guy was performing for the camera, right? Like he's looking
like
at he's looking at it.
At first, I thought, oh, that's the owner's friend, and he's just like punking him. You know, that's what my first thought was.
Which, if you do that, just do it for a minute. You don't have to sit there for 3 hours if you're just playing a prank. on
Now
someone.
I don't believe it's his friend.
This is
after
something else
3
going on.
hours.
Okay, I think there's some kind of like miscommunication because the Ring doorbell films what's going on around you, and he's licking what seems to be an intercom.
Right. He's not licking the actual Ring doorbell, which would be even more horrifying, I could imagine.
Oh
if
my God.
Yeah, that was gonna happen.
Now, the hilarious thing is that when you have a Ring doorbell, you can set up multiple levels of warning. So, for instance, if you live in front of a busy street, the doorbell isn't kind of like going off all the time because you need to charge it. And so, it's going off, your phone is ringing or kind of vibrating, you go and check, you can pick up, and you see automatically talk to the person doing it. Man, the battery from that Ring bell must have died pretty quickly after those 3 hours documenting the whole thing.
Yeah.
And a part of me is like,
so it pings you like all the time whenever there's somebody like moving in and out.
So anytime there's action, it's kind of like a little bit of a delay, but you'll receive a notification saying there's motion at your door, and you can dismiss it or you can have a live view or a replay.
So apparently this gentleman, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this gentleman, Roberto Arroyo, was out in front of this house between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. And now, luckily, the homeowner was not home at the time. She did say her children were home. It doesn't look like he made any attempt to get in the house. He was just licking the doorbell.
Could it be? I want to know,
A dare?
you get the alert that somebody is there, right? And I know my parents have a doorbell, and they are psychotic about when it rings. They're like, oh, who's there, and they like stare at it for hours, just like watching if there's anybody outside their door.
I would be
that's
obsessed
me.
with it if
That's
I
me.
had it.
Yeah,
I would be
I do
obsessed
that
with it.
already.
Yeah.
So you get a notification that somebody's at your door. I get that it was 2 to 5 a.m. or something. Which, number one, why are her kids in the house by herself unless there was another adult there?
know.
That's
Maybe
a very good.
Maybe she works
scares
nights or
me.
something, but
Maybe.
yeah, you would
But
hope there would be
see
somebody
it,
there.
and I would think that I would want to go to the house or be like, hey, somebody call the cops. This guy,
Right.
my kids are inside, and
Yeah.
this guy is licking the outside
But at
of
the
my
same
house.
time, if you're working in a job where you can't access your phone and
Oh,
you
that's
only
true.
see it later, maybe that's something. But yes,
we have that luxury here. I kind of forgot what that was
Right?
like to not look at my
Right?
phone.
we installed ours right before Christmas because we were gonna go over to France. So I was like, we need to have something to film door or whatever. And we barely had any strong connection, so it was kind of like loading, and you knew something was going on, but you couldn't open it up. Again, it's like a Facebook. Honestly, it's like brings you anxiety. Like,
glitch.
I can't see it, but I know something's happening. I must wait. So it's you shouldn't do it.
I feel like I would be shocked by the number of people that come by my front door. I would think if I put one of those in, because my wife is at home. She works from home. She says people come by all the time, and I didn't know that happened.
Oh.
Because it doesn't really happen much on the weekends where I live, but apparently that just people trying to sell something or whatever are just constantly coming by the house. Now, she could be overblowing it. I'm not really sure. She says it happens all the time. I think I would be shocked if I put in a Ring doorbell and I just constantly saw someone stepping up to my front door, and I'm like, what are you up to?
Right.
What are you doing? What are you up to? It seems to be, judging by my next door, it seems to be exclusively made for catching package thieves, which apparently
Yeah.
I didn't know that was as bad as it was until I started seeing it, and it happens, I guess, literally every day.
Yeah,
People going around stealing
apparently,
packages.
yeah. So what happened to these guy?
Hold on. I need to pull that story back up. I don't I'm trying to think in my head, is what he was doing illegal? I guess he was trespassing. Let's see. A little pop up here. He faces charges of prowling, theft, and violation of probation. So I guess he already had something else going on. He's also accused of stealing extension cords from Christmas decorations. So really cool dude, Roberto Arroyo from Salinas, California. Charges of prowling, which I guess is sneaking around someone's home. I don't know the legal definition of that.
I didn't even know that could be something.
Yeah.
It's pretty much real life trolling is what it is, guys.
Yeah. We'll do another quick story
You bet.
because we do have a show coming up at 1 o'clock, which Christina needs to pop out for, and they actually need this computer that I'm working on right now. So I'm gonna have to. But in more viral video news, and we have another video here in the queue.
We're making Derek work.
Yeah, I'm putting him through his paces here. There was CES. Was going on this week in Las Vegas, which if you're not familiar with CES, that's where all the new technology is shown to the public. You know, new phones, new gadgets, new refrigerators, anything technological
Something
is
that
being shown at CES.
that I found out is that Apple doesn't take part in this conference.
No, they don't. They do their own thing.
Yeah.
I guess they don't feel like they need to.
Right.
But
They might want to after that stock drop. Boom.
You're home for your best financial news here on the lunch break. But one thing that did happen was this video of a Tesla, which was in self-drive mode. I don't know if there was anybody in there. I don't believe there was. So a self-driving car runs over a robot that is parked outside CES. Can you hit that footage for me real quick? So there you see the Tesla driving by and just mowing down the robot. I hardly call it mowing it down. It's more bumped it and knocked it over.
Yeah, it's kind of like a robot like cleaning your house and bumping into furniture.
And there's our hero of the day coming in to save the robot. Now, I see that and it's funny. It's people are making fun of it. Oh, the automated car kills the robot. It's AI versus AI. What does he know, or what does it know that we don't? I have my doubts about whether or not this is real.
Staged.
Or staged, because this whole thing is framed so perfectly. I've just come to doubt, I think, anything that I see
Yeah.
on video. And the story of a self-driving car hitting a robot is just feels too, I don't know, too perfect for this world
Right.
to actually accidentally happen.
And exactly in a conference that talks about technology in the week that, I mean, come on.
And why is the robot just all by
Right.
themselves
I don't
It's
know.
a weird
That's a good-
positioning.
it doesn't seem to be able to move itself. Maybe it can. I'm not sure. Maybe it was standing there greeting people coming in, like a Walmart greeter, I suppose.
Like, move it to the sidewalk like any pedestrian. Like,
Right?
We need to get these robots under control.
the rules are here for everyone, not just humans, okay?
I don't know if Derek can weigh in. Derek, can you weigh in there?
I would love to know. Yeah, I got it already. You good?
She got it.
Yeah.
She's on top. What do you think? Do you think the Tesla mowing down the robot is real, or is this all staged PR stunt to get the lunch break to talk about it?
I gotta say, I think it's a lunch break PR stunt. It is.
They got us.
First of all,
they got us.
it's not like he actually ran it over, or the car ran it over. It was kind of a very slight bump, like you said.
Right.
So
Let's
not a
not
whole lot
damage.
going on there.
Yeah, I'm thinking let's not damage the Tesla because man, oh man, that's gonna be a lot of money to fix a car.
I would think so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
why
A little
like
body damage
probably
there.
it just like boop and he fell versus just completely ramming it and flying out of in the air and stuff like that. Derek, no extra conspiracy.
Yeah, no, you'd
theories?
have to imagine that Tesla's probably more, but then again, watch, this parking robot would be like $150,000.
So Christine checking in on Facebook with a little backstory. She says she believes, or she claims, that it is staged by the robot owners, not the Tesla. That they found that this company does this sort of thing frequently. I'm not really sure what that frequently means, like putting them in traffic frequently, or just staging public PR stunts. I assume
Maybe.
that's probably what she means. Yeah. I don't think they're throwing them out on the highway at all times to get run over. Before we go, real quick, I'm gonna hit you. It couldn't be the lunch break without a little food news. So I just want to hit you with this idea. There's a new trend going around for, I guess, people who are trying to eat clean. We all love to eat clean, don't we? So this is a sandwich with instead of, it's got the normal ingredients of a sandwich: turkey, maybe some cheese, maybe a little condiments. But instead of bread, you're putting it between 2 slices of green pepper, like a bell pepper sandwich.
It's like an avocado toast.
I like that.
I guess.
Inverted.
I like green peppers. I like bell peppers, but they're not my favorite. I can't imagine having 2 giant loaves of pepper and eating that as a sandwich. I'm not sure.
Crunchy.
I don't know. I don't know how I would dig that.
I feel like the flavor overload would be a little too much.
It's a
Like
lot
I
of
feel like
flavor,
it'd be
right?
like pepper. I wouldn't taste the turkey or the cheese. But if you did like one of those like stuffed peppers where you put just like the turkey insides in the pepper, I might like that
I'm
a
a big
little
fan
bit
of
better.
stuffed peppers. Yeah, you're right. You
yeah.
make a compelling point about the stuffed pepper, but I
That-
just feel like
but
biting
2?
into
No.
biting into that would just drive me crazy.
Can I jump in here
Yeah.
real quick? If you don't mind, yeah. I'm
Of
over
course.
here eating lunch on the lunch break. The first time I think ever in lunch break history. Sort of like the hot ramen noodles challenge. That was a lot of fun. Man, I'm trying to eat like low carb again. There's bell peppers in this. I'm all about the bell peppers. And if I'm trying to cut out like a bun or something, bell pepper is not the best solution, but I would totally eat that.
Would
as,
you
like,
go
an
for the
alternative
pepper
to the
sandwich?
I'm all in on it.
Okay.
You don't think it would be too much pepper overload at all? Oh.
No, I don't think I'd have that problem. No, I feel okay about it.
I'm sorry. To me, that's sacrilege. It's almost like replacing a flour or corn tortilla with a lettuce.
Oh, I love that. You don't like putting
not the fan of the lettuce wrap?
See, I would do like a lettuce sandwich.
Not.
I appreciate this, Anna.
The face
I'm with
you're
you,
giving
Anna.
me.
Bread is one of the, it would be the hardest thing for me to give up in the world is bread. I love it so much. So yeah, I mean, and the pepper, I don't know. Maybe we'll try it. I'll come Monday, pepper sandwiches here on the lunch break. We'll see.
Maybe.
Sandwiches and Reptar bars.
Yes, we need to do that. Yes,
will
we
do
didn't
that
do it today because I
eventually.
wasn't sure what your schedule was going to be like. But we will have a food eating challenge on the lunch break. Mark my words, come Monday.
Yes.
Until then, I have been your host, Matt. I want to thank our guest, Ashley Berges. Again, you can find her at ashleyberges.com, Berges. Go check out The Celebrity Perspective on Amazon Prime. Anna, good to have you back.
Thank you, everybody. It's
Or good to
been
have you in here.
Yum.
Christina, good to have you back.
Missed you guys.
Zach, good to have you in there eating lunch. Derek, well done for the last. I wasn't, but you got those videos up, so I think I say you passed. All right.
Yeah, I got it.
We did okay.
I'll give you
There's
an F.
room for improvement.
I'll give you an F plus.
Thank you. Yeah, something.
That's the end of our show today. Let's have a little music here. And we will be back on Monday. So have a great weekend. Stick around. Enjoy all the rest of the great Real News Communications Network programming that you'll find right here on this channel. Until then, take care and train dirty.